Good evening. I'm Michael Popa, Executive Director at Mainstream Coalition. And before I jump into my whole spiel, I just want to mention for those of you that would like to utilize closed captioning, that is available this evening for Zoom, through Zoom. So if you don't see the captions, please click the live transcript button at the bottom of the Zoom screen on desktop, or click those three dots on mobile and then choose Show Subtitles. Thank you so much for joining us for our August primary candidate forum for the chair of the Johnson County Board of Commissioners. This forum is being co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Johnson County, ACLU of Kansas, Mid-America LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the Northeast Johnson County Chamber of Commerce, and of course, Mainstream Coalition. There's a lot at stake on August 2nd. And all of the co-sponsors tonight for this event believe that democracy works best when voters are informed and active. But historically, voter turnout is very low in primary elections, with as many as 70% of the electorate not voting. And this is a unique even year primary election to add to that. In addition to the partisan slate on the state and federal races, there will also be two nonpartisan issues on the August 2nd ballot in Johnson County, one being the statewide constitutional amendments, and the other, the nonpartisan Board of County Commissioner races in Johnson County, including the one that we're featuring this evening. So what does that mean? All registered voters in Johnson County, including unaffiliated and independent voters, will have an opportunity to vote on or before August 2nd of this year. So it's up to you, the informed electorate, to educate, to engage, and to help get others out to vote this year. To that end, we'll soon be hearing from two of the four candidates running to represent you as chair of the Johnson County Board of Commissioners. However, please note that all candidates running for this office on this August 2nd ballot were invited to participate. A link to the full forum guidelines will be placed in the chat, but I would like to go over a few housekeeping items before we begin. One, this is an educational, nonpartisan event for the general public. This is not a debate. Candidates will have 3 minutes each to answer the questions. We will provide a countdown of the remaining time for each candidate in the chat box at 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and at time. If a candidate continues to speak after time, our moderator will politely interject with thank you and move on to the next candidate. Candidates will also have 1 minute to make closing remarks before we end this evening's forum. And we want the candidates to hear from you. So please use the Q&A feature to send any questions to our organizers, and we'll get to as many of those as time allows at the end. Thanks again for joining us this evening. We really hope that this forum provides you the opportunity to learn more about your candidates and to make an informed decision when filling out your ballot for the August 2nd election. And now it is my pleasure to welcome my good State House buddy and moderator extraordinaire, Eileen Berquist, Director of Policy for the UCLA of Kansas. Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here tonight. As Michael Popa said, I'm the Policy Director at the ACLU of Kansas. We are a nonpartisan nonprofit working in the courts, the State House, and in local communities, including Johnson County, to defend the civil rights and liberties of all Kansans. I am very happy to be here tonight moderating this forum. So, as Michael said, we have two candidates with us tonight. First, Shirley Allenbrand. Hi, Shirley. And Mike Kelly.
Good evening, Eileen. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now that we are all pinned and ready to go on the screen so people can see you, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. We have a lot of great questions tonight. So if we are ready to go on the mainstream side, let's get going. So the chairperson of the Johnson County Commission has many responsibilities. Which responsibilities do you consider to be the most important? We'll start with Shirley.
I think the most important part of being a chair is to listen, to gather facts from the outside, from constituents, and then also listening and working with staff, partnering with the cities, with other education communities as well.
Thank you, Shirley. Mike?
Well, Eileen, thank you. And I want to make sure before I start to thank the Mainstream Coalition, as well as the ACLU, the League of Women Voters, and all of the sponsors who've come together to put this forum together. I think it's an incredibly important opportunity that the voters have an opportunity to learn about the clear choices that they have for candidates in this race. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak directly to you, the voters. My name is Mike Kelly. I'm the mayor of Roland Park. I've done that for 5 years. And this race is a very important race because it's an inflection point for Johnson County. The chair is in a unique position. Not only is the chair one of 7 commissioners that oversees the now $1.6 billion budget for the Johnson County services that really set Johnson County apart, really give us this exceptional quality of life that we've come to expect and promote here in Johnson County. Things not only like our infrastructure, but our public safety and MedAct, things like our parks and our libraries, our mental health services, disability services, aging services, all of these important quality of life features. The chair sets the agenda. Not only that, the chair, unlike many other municipalities or county, is a voting member of the commission and will have a vote on all matters that come before the position. But also importantly, the chair has the opportunity to be the representative for Johnson County. All 600,000 plus Johnson Countyans are going to vote for a chair. And that chair is the de facto mayor of Johnson County. I think we need somebody that has executive experience, somebody that's run a meeting before, somebody that has set an agenda, has a proven record of reducing mill levies, not cutting services, but also being able to coalesce a broad coalition in creating innovative solutions for our county's future. So all of these things together, I think there's a clear choice here, and I'm excited to talk more about my priorities for the county as your next chair.
Thank you. Leaders have the opportunity to be visionaries. You're not just a visionary because you're given the opportunity to lead. So what are some of those visionary stances you might take? What are those issues that need to be addressed in Johnson County? Mike, let's start with you.
Well, thanks, Eileen. I think we're at an inflection point because regardless of who wins this election, there's going to be a new chair. And like I mentioned, the chair not only sets the tone and the priority, the chair has the opportunity to prioritize action. And when you think about Johnson County, it's a great place to live. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to raise a family, retire, and everything in between. That doesn't happen by accident. It takes a dedicated leadership. It's also not guaranteed. Johnson County is a top 10 county in the nation, but we have to remain innovative and take advantage of the opportunities of the future if we're going to remain a top 10 county in our country. Obviously, right now with the American Rescue Plan funding, but also the bipartisan infrastructure bill, we have a real opportunity to make catalytic investments into our county and utilize alternative sources of funding, not just the shoulders of Johnson County residential property owners, which too much of the burden has been continuously shifted to residential property owners. But instead, we have the opportunity to make catalytic investments into infrastructure, not only like a wastewater treatment facility that needs refurbishment in the Nelson facility, that can also help from an environmental, but an energy efficiency standpoint, but also transportation. In working with partners throughout the region to welcome new businesses into Johnson County, ones that'll give us quality jobs and great careers for the great candidates that we support coming out of our amazing public schools. So the decisions we make in the next 40 years are going to have 40 years of impact in Johnson County. And so having that vision for leadership and innovation for the future is key for the next chair.
Thank you, Mike. Shirley, would you like me to repeat the question or are you good to go?
Why don't you just very quickly? I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So you have the opportunity as a leader, if you get this position, to be a visionary. So what issues do you think need to be addressed in Johnson County?
First of all, I have owned and operated healthcare communities in Northwest Johnson County, award-winning healthcare communities, and I currently serve on several different liaisons. I'm on the Airport Commission, the Northwest Zoning Board, Southwest Zoning, 2 fire boards, which I recently did a consolidation of those fire boards. I'm on a Housing and Authority Committee, on a subcommittee. And then also I was appointed on the Audit Committee. I serve currently now as the Vice Chair. So I feel like I have the tools in place to be able to do this chair seat. I have 3 priorities. One is to provide quality, vital county services to residents. And that would be public safety, parks, libraries, expand mental health programs. I'm currently very active on a subcommittee right now, helping make those happen. I also think it's important to focus on the workforce development, and that is working with businesses and community leaders and education communities as well. We have to address the workforce shortage. That includes transportation along with housing and training. I also will continue to protect the tax dollars. So for example, right now we have a AAA bond rating. That needs to continue. Also, currently we are asking for a 2023 mill reduction. And I continue to keep looking at consolidated services as it seems necessary. We saved over 28 million on Turkey Creek. Nelson, we have a complete capital improvement plan going on right now with other consolidations as needed. So I would continue to support those. I've been actively working on the Airport Commission with new, we just sent out a van trust to development for the airport. So there's a lot of things going on right now in Johnson County.
Thank you. Changing direction a little bit, what do you see as the most pressing civil rights issues impacting Johnson County today? And how do you think these issues should be addressed by the commission? Shirley?
Well, there are 7 people that are on the commission, 7 elected officials, and each have a vote. So I think it's very important that you have to work together, and you have to not only be able that the chair has a vote, but there's also other votes. So you have to be able to work within your entire commission. You also have to be able to work with our county manager and staff. So if you listen to a county meeting recently, there's a lot of issues at hand. And I think that you have to take a proactive approach. And that's what the county's been doing. So I agree with taking that proactive, being proactive. And I think that there's several things that right now, that are of important issues, and trying to work with all 6 other, if you're chair, you got to work with all 6 other commissioners to try to get that vote in place.
Mike?
Well, Eileen, your question was about civil rights. And I think the biggest, most pressing issue right now as it relates to civil rights is the constitutional amendment that's on the ballot on August 2nd. More than half of Johnson County residents' civil rights are on the ballot this year. And from a legal perspective, I'm an attorney at Hush Blackwell in my day job. The shaky ground of the decision from the US Supreme Court absolutely scares folks, because of the shaky legal ground of that theory and the potential erosion of other privacy rights based on a misreading of substantive due process. I believe in a woman's right to bodily autonomy, but we should all be concerned about the civil liberties that are also protected by substantive due process, and we should be voting no on this constitutional amendment. Moreover, I'm proud of the work that we've done in Roland Park, making sure that folks can absolutely provide the talents and treasures they have within their communities and take advantage of the resources that we have by making sure that we are a city that welcomes all people of all backgrounds and make sure that they can feel comfortable within their community. And because of that, we're a stronger community. And as a county, we absolutely should be making sure that we protect all citizens in our community, regardless of their race, religion, sexual orientation, or otherwise, so that we can continue to reap the benefits of this wonderful, diverse community that we have in Johnson County.
One moment, please. The question I was about to ask seems to have disappeared from the screen, so I'm going to jump ahead while hopefully someone on the back end can get that fixed. Give me one moment. Oh, no, there it is. All right. So in May of this year, the Johnson County Prosecutor's Office announced it would attempt to bypass the juvenile justice system and charge 4 14-year-old children as adults in a felony murder case. What are your thoughts on charging children as adults in Johnson County? Mike, let's go first.
Well, obviously, the determination of the individual circumstances of our case are best left with not only the court, but with the justice system. But at the same time, I believe at 14 years old, that's a child. And we need to make sure that we have systems in place that allow for somebody to learn and to grow when making mistakes. And in doing so, have an opportunity to give of themselves to the community, to get an education, to better themselves, and in doing so, make our community a stronger place. I'm proud of the justice system that we have in Johnson County, as well as the state of Kansas. I'm proud to be a member of the bar associations, both in Kansas and Missouri. At the same time, I think that it is always incumbent upon us to make sure that we are providing the most just determination, providing good laws to our court systems that then can be implemented. And that's another role that the chair can have when we're talking not just about laws in terms of mandatory minimum sentencing or charging children as adults, but of many things that can come out of the legislature. The Johnson County chair is that de facto bully pulpit for our community. Johnson County is now about 25% of the state, and it's growing into about 40% of the state's economy. And so we have an oversized impact in the State House to directly affect things like this. And the chair can directly work and build a broad coalition with the legislators from Johnson County to make sure that we have great laws that we can implement that best serve the residents of Johnson County.
Are you ready?
Surely.
Sorry. Well, first of all, being born and raised in Johnson County, and my cousin, Uncle Freddie, was sheriff for 47 years. So being brought up in that atmosphere, you know, I feel like I have a pretty good handle. But I also believe that, you know, that is a state, you know, so that is something that I really feel like I have to work with the DA. That's a state to decide, you know, if somebody, how they try someone. I think, again, it goes back to priorities. Serving on the University of Kansas Hospital Board, Advancement Board, and several other, I know that some of the issues that we have with mental health, with children and having, knowing how to read and to write, it's amazing how many people don't have those professionals. And these are young kids, these are 14-year-olds, you know, that this happened to. But I really believe that, you know, working with, that is part of the DA's job. That is what he is to do, part of his job. But also, I too believe that I have also worked on bills, and I've actually had a bill that was put together and passed through the legislature. So I do know how to work with legislators, and that's something that you have to work with as a team. So I really feel like that's not the responsibility of the county commissioner.
All right, thank you. In March 2021, the city of Marion passed an ordinance prohibiting pedestrians from standing in certain medians asking for money or assistance. So the impact of this is a disproportionate harm to vulnerable people without homes. With that as context, understanding that this was a specific place, and we're talking about the county, what do you think the county commission can do to assist the houseless population in Johnson County? And Shirley, you're up first.
Okay, thank you. I'll get it by the time this is over with.
It's all right. I'm having a little trouble with my unmuting button, so we're going to work this out together.
Well, first of all, I am taking a very active role on a subcommittee for housing, homelessness, and have been very active in this. And so I think it's very important. We have been meeting with all the different organizations that are in the community, from church organizations to non-for-profit organizations, to find out what all that they, the services that they offer. And we have been putting in an implementation of homelessness, and we are currently working with a for-profit, non-for-profit group to hopefully be able to announce very soon some ideas for the homelessness. But we also, I think that is just a real issue, not only homelessness, but affordable housing. We currently did a housing study, and that's been the first one that's been done for numerous years, and there's such a shortage out there. There's the average home out there being able to find something that you can afford to rent. I think that puts us in the criteria of homelessness. So I think that, again, that's one of my top priorities. Is my third priority is to work with, not only to work with cities, but also to partner with educators. Like Johnson County Community College right now has 2,700 different certifications that they offer for people that are trying to better themselves. So I think being able to offer all that, are we ever going to get to the point that there's no homeless? There's just always that small percentage out there that just does not want to move off the street. That is just the environment that they like to live in. So it's hard to change that.
Thank you, Shirley. Mike?
Obviously, we want to be compassionate to fellow human beings. At the end of the day, the chair's role is about public service. And we need to serve all people in Johnson County, regardless of their income level, regardless of their housing status. And the unhoused population in Johnson County deserves services too. I'm glad that the county is moving toward a full-time unhoused coordinator. I think we need to look at a permanent site for the unhoused population. But we also need to focus on the expanding need of mental health in our county. And I'm glad that there's a great group of folks that work within the mental health department in Johnson County. We need to make sure that we're giving them the resources that they need to be able to provide services, especially to the most vulnerable in our community. We need to make sure that they at the mental health department have a proper facility. When I toured the facility in Olathe, it is literally sinking into the ground. There's cracks on the wall. 7 people are in an office the size of 2. It's going to be really hard to serve the population with those kind of resources. Now, there's plenty of things that we can do to maximize those resources, one of which would be expanding Medicaid at a state level, which would have such a $1 million plus impact per year for the Johnson County Mental Health Department. Additionally, we know that this problem does not stop at our preordained jurisdictional lines. The role of the chair also needs to be somebody that can work beyond Johnson County's line. We need to have great relationships with Kansas City, Missouri, with Wyandotte County, with Franklin and Anderson and Douglas County. But particularly, we need somebody who's going to be Johnson County's representative at the core 4. That's going to be able not only to stand up for Johnson County's interests, but to work on solving these regional problems. And I've shown in my record through being the founder and right now the chairman of Climate Action KC that I can absolutely do that and do so in a way that's not only beneficial for Johnson County, but for the entire region. But I agree with Shirley that we do need to focus on how we can maintain a diverse housing stock for folks throughout Johnson County and working with UCS. Roland Park was an early adopter of not only the housing study, but also has been working through the toolkit to make sure that we can maintain the affordable housing that we have now, to find innovative solutions to be able to help with minor home repair and exterior home repair programs, but also to make sure that we find that missing middle of housing and give that diverse level of housing opportunities to all residents in Johnson County.
Thank you, Mike, for that answer. So because both of you mentioned affordable housing and understanding that there is a complex system of support for the houseless population, but affordable housing, everyone is impacted by that. Everyone can benefit. So I'm going to go ahead and jump forward a couple questions, then go back. What specific actions should the county take to ensure affordable housing is available? Mike, go ahead.
Well, thank you. And just to reiterate some of the things that I mentioned in my last answer, we want to make sure that we are providing opportunities for a diverse housing stock at a variety of levels. And we can do so by making sure that we are maintaining the affordable housing that we have now. In Roland Park, I started a few programs, not only the property tax assistance program, but also the Neighbors Helping Neighbors program, taking innovative solutions to systemic problems. We were able to help with minor home and exterior home improvement programs, problems that were becoming codes issues or blight issues, by utilizing volunteer work or high school students at Bishop Miege that needed service hours, and in doing so was able to elegantly solve multiple problems with effective solutions. We also want to make sure that we are cognizant of the zoning decisions that we're making, especially that the county has a variety of densities. The unincorporated areas are different than Northeast Johnson County. But we want to make sure that we maintain opportunities for that missing middle, to find ways to allow different kind of housing, folks that want a more walkable, denser community. That's a 15-minute community. We want to utilize smart growth and lean into the knowledge base that we have in Johnson County through partnership with organizations like UCS or the Mid-America Regional Council, in implementing the solutions within those toolkit as they're appropriate throughout the county.
Thank you, Mike. Shirley?
Well, workforce housing is definitely a passion of mine. I, in my past years of development, actually helped develop some affordable housing for senior living in Houston and also over on the Missouri side. So this is very important. The average home, and I didn't look at it today or yesterday, but was $435,000 for an average home that's sold in Johnson County. You've got people that are in the workforce area that you're looking at, and even the average hourly rate anymore has gone up. And you look at somebody who is a warehouse worker at Amazon making $25 an hour, and they're with the sign-on bonus, so you're still looking at somewhere between $45,000 to $50,000. And so where can you go buy a house? Where can you go rent for that? So we in this group that we're working on, this subcommittee, we have actually are trying to put together a trust, and it's with some monies that we wanted to use to partner. Again, it's partnerships with the cities, it's partnerships with other programs that are going on at a state level. Some cities provide services like rent assistance. The county also provides that. There's a lot of different programs that are out there that are already being offered. But how do we go about building these workforce houses? But then we just started a program. It was a city of Shawnee along with the county and then the developer. The developer put money up, the county put money in, and then these apartments are being built. So there's 1-bedroom Class A apartments. So they are 1-bedroom to 3-bedroom homes or apartments. They have a pool, sauna. I mean, it's fully equipped with amenities, and they're going to start somewhere around $700 a month, which makes that more affordable. I also contacted our transit to make sure that we have transportation going from there. So it's important to be able to look at those areas and work with the workforce now and provide transportation when needed. But workforce housing is definitely a need in Johnson County.
Thank you both. All right, switching tactics again. And please take a drink of water at any point throughout this. What will be your main focus to improve public safety? Shirley, you're up first.
Well, public safety is still a priority and one of my top 3 priorities. And the recent survey that Johnson County completed, the citizens completed at a 90 percentile satisfaction. 97% satisfied this is a great place to live, work, and play. So we need to continue to provide high quality services, and that includes public safety, parks, libraries, and again, it's important to expand those mental health services. So, and this isn't something that one entity is going to be able to do by themselves. It's going to be it's going to be working with cities, counties, schools, and the private sector. So to me, that's very important to continue those services as they're rated now. Our Parks and Rec department was rated with Gold Star. Our museum just was rated with a national accreditation. And that's all part of being able to continue with those services.
Mike?
Specifically, as it relates to public safety, I am a mayor that has fully funded a police department for 5 years and actually expanded programs within the police department to make sure that we can build the bonds of trust within our community. One of the programs we started was a K9 unit, and actually that was also crowdfunded by the citizens of Roland Park as a way to not only provide an additional service to the community, but to build relationships within our community, making sure that people understand the role of the officer and the officers understand the needs and the desires of the community. So it's very important to build those bonds of trust within our community. But we also want to make sure that the police have the resources that they need. One of the things that I was really proud that I did in Roland Park was we were an early adopter of the mental health co-responder program. We want to make sure that when somebody is going through a mental health crisis, that not only are they getting the best service possible that they could be getting through the intermediary of a mental health professional, but that's a service to our police officers who they are trained for so many things, but they are not as well trained for a mental health situation. And to prevent the situation from potentially escalating or to put our officers into harm's way, I'm proud that we were an early proponent of the mental health co-responder system, and since then have actually doubled our allocation of resources for mental health co-responders in Roland Park and some of our partners here in Northeast Johnson County. Additionally, I know that this county is satisfied with its MEDAC and fire services, but we have to make sure that in providing those services that we are providing as effective and as efficient a service as possible. And so making sure we work with all fire districts within Johnson County, as well as with MEDAC services that are now in fire stations. We want to make sure that we continue to provide top-notch effective services and be good stewards of those resources that are given to us.
Thank you both. Again, changing topics. We're just jumping all around here. Participation in primary elections is dismally low. We all know this. So what are you doing to encourage folks to vote in their local elections? Mike, you're on deck.
Well, obviously participating in a forum with the ACLU and with Mainstream Coalition and the League of Women Voters. Obviously, it's a broad county. So we're taking a multifaceted approach to try to reach folks where they are and talking about the issues that are important to them. Right now, there seems to be a dismal view of politicians and politics because we've seen this toxicity that's been leaching its way down from the federal government or the state government. We're very much seeing that in our local elections as well. We saw it in last fall's school board elections, and frankly, we're seeing it at the county commission now. And it frankly is dangerous. Not only does it deter good folks from wanting to participate, it casts dispersions onto government services and government servants that work within county government. And it has no place. And it takes an effective leader to be able to run a meeting, to keep things factual. And when things stop getting factual, to be effective in keeping disinformation and dishonesty out of our municipal and county governments. I've got a track record of doing that, and I'm looking forward to doing that as your next county chair.
Shirley.
Thank you. This election is very important. First of all, the good news is that I was having a conversation with our election commissioner, and we are at an all-time high of people requesting absentee ballots. So they're expecting a huge turnout, which is good. No matter which way you vote, you need to get out to vote. The county chair is a very important position. It's not just one city, it's multiple cities. It's a huge budget of $1.5 billion. It's very, very important that we have the right person serving in that position. We need to take note not only of the chair position, but all other positions, not just if it's just one thing that's on the ballot. We need to get out and vote. My uncle always told me, you know what, it's an honor and a privilege to serve our county, and you need to give back to your community. And that is one thing that I have done continuously through my career of, is giving back to the community and staying engaged. This election is important, but all elections are important. So I hope that you get the word out. That's what we're trying to do, is get the word out to vote. So it's important.
Thank you. So government works best when the decision makers work together for the people they represent. What is your approach to bringing diverse viewpoints together to get things done for Johnson County? Shirley, you're first.
Well, it's always been on my approach in everything I do. When I owned and operated healthcare communities, right now the different liaison of commissions that I'm on is I roll up my sleeves. I like to get the facts. I like to bring everybody together, and it may, to try to come up with the best possible solution. I've, recently been criticized for that, holding meetings with my constituents, but I believe it's very important. It's important to hear, what are your concerns? What do you believe is the best possible solution? And we might not always agree, but I'm a good listener, and I will work hard to bring the bodies together. And that is one thing that I've done as a commissioner. Everything that I have set out to do as a commissioner of District 6, I was able to accomplish, but it took a lot of hard work, and it took working together with elected officials, cities, county, and then also constituents. But that to me is the key, and not always, like I said, we're going to come up with the thing that we want to hear. Probably one of the biggest issues I have right now in the 6th district is trucks and roads. And probably at the end of the day, whatever the staff decides of each city is the best possible route to go, it may not be something that a constituent will agree upon. But that's always been my philosophy in my work and my work ethic. I've shown that in different chambers of commerce, being chairman of the board and hospital boards, and also working on the commission.
Mike?
Thanks, Eileen. You know, as a leader, it's incumbent upon you to work with broad coalition to find solutions that work for all and focus on the issues that really matter to folks. And when I'm out there talking to residents of Johnson County, they're focused on how best are they going to support their families? How are they going to support the exceptional public schools in Johnson County? How are they going to get to work? What is with this weird economy? And so by focusing on the things that matter most to Johnson Countyans and having considerate, dedicated leadership with a vision for the future, that's how we're going to be able to best serve the folks in Johnson County. One of the things that people are talking a lot about is obviously residential property taxes. In Roland Park, I'm proud that as mayor, we've lowered those mill levies twice, and we're going to do it a third time this year. And we're able to do that by focusing on things that people really want. And that is not sacrificing services, but instead broadening our tax base to welcome new businesses to Roland Park. We welcomed new world-class medical facilities, and we did so without incentives on these projects. And by doing so, we not only give folks the opportunity to take a little bit of the shouldering of the city's budget off of them and broaden that tax base, but we also provide opportunities for careers and opportunities for good healthcare services within our community. We also worked with the chambers of commerce and promoted entrepreneurialism within our community. And so really having a dedicated, focused leader who can set an agenda with a vision forward, I think that's a skill set. And making sure that the solutions that you want to bring forward have a game plan and can not be distracted by the vocal minority is incredibly important. So I'm really looking forward to focusing on the issues that matter directly to our residents. And in doing so, I think that speaks to most folks in Johnson County. We've got a lot more alike than we don't.
Thank you, Mike. And excuse me to all the folks watching who may just have gotten seasick. I've got some light coming in the window straight into my eyes, and I'm trying to adjust that. So thank you for your patience. All right, let's talk money. Tell me about your experience with understanding and managing large budgets. Mike, you're up first.
Well, obviously being mayor of Roland Park for the last 5 years, I understand setting a budget. I understand working with a broad coalition of folks to make sure that we understand the challenges that we face, but also meeting the desires of residents. As I mentioned in Roland Park, I was proud to lower our mill levy twice, and we're going to do so again a third time this year. Again, being able to do that by broadening our tax base, by welcoming new businesses to our community. And in doing so, I'll also provide additional services to our residents. Also, as the construction litigator in me, I've had the opportunity to see both sides of a public and private partnership. Johnson County and the metropolitan area has no shortage of examples of public-private partnerships that have very large budgets, but in doing so with considerate, dedicated leadership can provide great economic opportunities to our region, but also really great quality services. We have to remain innovative in the way that we provide these services. We can't just always take the old way that things have always been done and expect the same results every time. The world continues to change. We need to be leaders in Johnson County and work with the fantastic staff we have, but also the business community we have. I'm proud to be part of the business community right now and working with the robust architectural, engineering, and construction community, but also being supportive of the bioscience industries here in the animal health corridor that runs through the metropolitan region and through Johnson County. We must continue to be innovators and be welcoming to new businesses coming into Johnson County, taking advantage of the legislature's Apex tax support system to hopefully bring new innovative investments to Western Johnson County, but also at New Century Airport, in Northeast Johnson County, and really throughout our community. That's what's going to serve us best.
Thank you, Mike. Shirley?
So being an owner and operator of numerous healthcare communities, I had the opportunity and had to be responsible, along with the business partner, Mark Parkinson. We owned and operated the Sweet Lives, which are now owned by Brookdale Communities. I know exactly how you have to watch a budget and how to construct projects and put those together. With a $1.6 billion budget, is where our budget is right now. Almost 60% of that is money that goes to our public safety department, roads, highways, and infrastructure. We are in a position right now of taking a look. Economic development is very important to me. If you look at my bio on my website, you see what I've been involved in my lifetime with economic development. And I've been very active right now working towards getting new businesses into our community to help create that. We have a past chair who has been very innovative. He participated in Core 4. He was very instrumental in getting a reserve plan in place. We have reserves. I know that there's a lot of people that have talked about using those reserves to pay down debt. Those reserves, monies that are in that reserve plan, are allocated for certain things. So they're allocated for wastewater, for in reserves in case something happens within the county. Nobody wants to see any taxes going up, so it's important to have those in place. I am I think it's important to work with our staff. We have great county staff. We continue to keep looking at ways we can consolidate. We have a 15-year capital improvement plan. For example, we have Johnson County Mental Health. We're looking at mental health, the crisis building. That's part of our capital improvement plan. It's so important to have those things in place, to look at your budget. But again, being creative and look at ways to consolidate. Consolidate is very key and very important.
Thank you both. All right, it looks like we have gone through our prepared questions, and now we are taking some questions from folks in the audience. So, kicking us off, do you support common sense gun changes at the county level, such as background checks on all gun sales and red flag laws? Shirley?
Well, I'm not sure what the red flag is. I have to be honest, I don't know what that is, but I definitely think that that I was on a Zoom call with a group of people last month, and definitely something has to take place. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I definitely want to look at different proposals and look at what's out there. We've got to do something. I'm from a family of hunters. I'm a family of a lot of my relatives, have a permit to carry, and I respect those, but definitely something has to happen. And I am and will be supportive of listening to what those, again, as the county chair, that's not part of the agenda that I have, but definitely on a personal note with grandkids in school, I definitely have interest.
Thank you. And to be clear, just for clarification, red flag laws, they have a number of different options, but primarily it allows a judge to take away someone's gun if it is seen that they are a danger to someone else. So you see them brought up in the context of protection orders for people who have experienced domestic violence and that sort of thing.
I would definitely 100% agree with that.
Mike?
This is an issue that I hear about and that really hits home to me as a father of young children. I know that my kids are going to be going to school, and it can keep me up at night. When I think about my almost 5-year-old daughter, doing active school shooting drills and having her come home and we have to explain those circumstances to her, makes my blood boil. It's not the community in which I grew up, and it is absolutely abhorrent that that's where we've gotten as a society. Now, I'm a gun owner. I own a shotgun. It is locked. It is secured. It is taken out rarely if I get the opportunity to go out to Powder Creek and shoot sporting clays. But because of that, I understand the enormous weight and responsibility that gun ownership takes. My father taught me that in my time becoming an Eagle Scout. I learned that. And common sense gun regulations like red flag laws, that like increased and more stringent background checks, are things that 90% of the country agrees with. And it's incredibly disappointing that at the federal level or at the state level that our representatives won't take actions that can save Johnson Countyans' lives. Now, there is state laws that preclude local levels of government from regulating firearms and ammunition. As a Moms Demand Action certified candidate, I looked into this in Roland Park, and we've seen that we can't directly regulate firearms or ammunition at the local level. But I can tell you, being county chair, I am going to absolutely use my pulpit to advocate at the State House and advocate with our federal representatives to take advantage of known common sense solutions that, again, most of America agrees with, and do everything in my power to keep our children safe.
Thank you. And I believe this will be our final question. What is your plan to prepare for and care for the projected increase in the senior population in Johnson County? Mike?
Now, Johnson County is expecting to continue to grow, and that's a great thing for Johnson County. I think the last study that I saw said that by 2050, we're going to see another 500,000 people come to the metro area, but about 200,000 of those are expected to come to Johnson County. So when we're talking about the investments that we make today, we need to be preparing for the infrastructure for our grandkids, not the infrastructure for our grandparents. We need to look at our wastewater capacity. We need to look at our transportation capacity, our stormwater capacity, sewer capacity, how best we can support and protect our public schools in Johnson County. That's really the golden goose. That's what people want to see. That's why we're going to see such a growth in Johnson County, because we have amazing public schools. And the county can support that not only by the nuts and bolts infrastructure that I mentioned, but also by providing the best quality of life possible, being efficient and being good stewards of our resources always, but also making sure that when we educate our students that are going to be competitive anywhere in the country, they have an opportunity to go to Boston, Chicago, New York, LA, Dallas, Denver. If we're going to compete with the mountains or the Metropolitan Museum of Art, we've got to provide this amazing quality of life. That means making sure that we promote our parks and our recreation services, making sure that we have world-class libraries and a quality Johnson County arts system, and that we're also being a beacon of attraction for new business opportunities to come into Johnson County to give our students the careers that they deserve moving forward.
Shirley?
You want to read the question to me one more time? Sorry.
Absolutely, yes. It's getting a little late in the day. All right. What is your plan to prepare and care for the projected increase in Johnson County's senior population?
The senior population, well, first of all, the population growth is going to expand. So I have sat on several different committees and appointments through the current commission. And so a lot of economic developments going on. Again, it takes investment into our community. We already have Gold Star Johnson County Parks. We already have a national accredited museum. We need to continue to keep expanding on that. Our capital improvement plan that we have right now definitely looks at what is needed within, in the community. So we're looking at different buildings, for example, the mental health building. A lot of those projects are already in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be remodeled or newly built or maybe built somewhere else. So that taking a look at that and planning ahead like you would a budget. Seniors, again, I think it's very important. We have worked on, we have several senior programs from house rental to, helping them with their roofs, just different things, different programs that are available. But that senior commission, there's a lot of things that we are projecting to do this next year. We have an advocate that we hire through the county that helps work on issues, legislative issues, and those are something, again, it's not going to just be the county, it's going to be all those entities involved together to make a difference. And so I think for me, that's the important part of pulling this all together.
Thank you very much. Before we hand it off to the League of Women Voters, I think we had 1 minute recap for each candidate, if you would like to take that. Is there anything else you would like to share with the folks on the line today? Shirley?
Oh, I think I'm unmuted, right? Am I unmuted? Well,
Yes, ma'am.
I was born and raised in Johnson County. I come from a long history of family, so I'm very dedicated. I'm not only serving on Johnson County Commission right now, but I've also served the citizens of Olathe and Lenexa. I've raised my children here. I have grandchildren right now that are in the school district. I'm very dedicated and have been involved in civic engagement. I have 3 priorities, which I've listed before. One is to provide high quality virtual county services, which include our public safety. Also, I think that I will continue to work on workforce housing and then protecting the tax dollars, like the 28 million that we saved on Turkey Creek, continue with those types of savings of consolidation. So that's my plan if elected as your chair.
Thank you. Mike, final thoughts?
Eileen, I'm going to apologize. Didn't hear part of the last question for you to ask about the increased senior population, and to just hit 2 quick notes on that. Sorry about the virtual environment that we've lived through for the last 2 years, but that would be making sure that we advocate expanding Medicaid, but also providing training and support for the caregivers that are going to be providing services, including family caregivers. So I think that's incredibly important. You know, Johnson County is a great place to live, to work, to start a business, to retire, and everything in between. That does not happen by accident. The leaders that we choose and the priorities that they bring are going to be crucial to making sure that the plans that we have in place actually can be implemented and that we can deal with the challenges like a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. There's only one candidate in this race that has the executive experience of cutting taxes and of fully funding a police service. There's only one that's actively within the business community. There's only one that has a vision for Johnson County's future, and that's Mike Kelly. So I ask folks to please vote for Mike Kelly on August 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, for your time here tonight. I'm going to now pass it off to Carolyn from League of Women Voters.
Well, thank you, Eileen, for moderating, and a very special thank you to Shirley and Mike for making the time to share their perspectives with us this afternoon. I'd also like to take just another moment to recognize the partner organizations who made this forum possible. These include, of course, the League of Women Voters of Johnson County, Mainstream Coalition, the ACLU of Kansas, the Mid-America LGBT Chamber, and the Northeast Johnson County Chamber. Mainstream Coalition will also be posting a recording of this forum on both Facebook and on YouTube, and would ask that you share them with your family, share them with your friends, share them with your colleagues at work, anyone that you consider a part of your network of voters. A couple of important dates, you may want to write them down. Tomorrow, July 2nd, is the last day to register to vote for the August 2nd primary. You can quickly and very easily check your registration at ksvotes.org. And another really important point, I think, is that all registered voters, regardless of party affiliation, are able to vote on both the constitutional amendment and on the nonpartisan races on August 2nd. Other dates of importance: in Johnson County, advanced voting by mail begins on Wednesday, July 13th, and advanced voting in person begins this Saturday, July 16th. And don't forget, the last day to request your advanced ballot is Tuesday, July 26th. And of course, Election Day is Tuesday, August 2nd. Before you cast your vote, please visit vote411.org and ksballot.org. And there you'll learn more about the candidates. You'll find your early or election day voting location, and together you can make a plan for when and how you will vote. KS Ballot is also available in Spanish at ksboleta.org, KSBOLETA. Your vote is important. Thank you again for joining us, and good night.